It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday morning to you, gents.
Good morning, Andy.
Oh,
Good morning.
day.
I'm the only one who gets to have the faux Irish greeting on this show.
That's why I said good day.
Yeah, that's good.
I didn't even try the accent. Good day.
Good day. Have you guys seen any good movies this last week or last few weeks?
I've been re-watching movies still because I think that's maybe a little type of comfort.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Not movies that I have a pretty big DVD collection because I'm old.
Yes.
And going back into those, there's some sort of like muscle memory. It's a little calming. Although I think I've mentioned this before, because I'm such a horror movie fan, I own an alarming amount of movies about people trapped in a very small space. And those are sometimes I'll be halfway through Quarantine, the movie Quarantine, or REC, REC, that it was based on, and be like, why am I feeling so upset? Oh, why am I watching this? Yeah, so I'll change to something like Mission Impossible to see people run really fast.
The outside, right.
Yes, exactly.
I did watch a couple of Hitchcocks that were new to me. I watched Foreign Correspondent and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which was interesting.
An odd twist for Hitchcock.
I've never heard of Foreign Correspondents, and I feel bad about that. Is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, pardon my ignorance, does that have anything to do with the Mr. and Mrs. Smith that came out with Brad Pitt?
No.
Okay.
Just
Although
title.
I like
Meaning,
to
was the Brad Pitt one a remake somehow of that? Was it about two different spy couples?
No, Hitchcock's Mr. and Mrs. Smith is basically about this couple who find out that through some kind of legal kerfuffle, they're not legally married. And so they get into a fight and the husband is trying to win the wife back. And it's kind of supposed to be a screwball comedy, but it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not it actually works as such.
That sounds like a movie that I watched at a revival house once. It was called Too Many Husbands. And it was back before we knew really how to make movies. And a woman is married and her husband flies in a plane and disappears and is pronounced dead. And so she marries another one. But then he comes back and now she has too many husbands. And it was too much film that wasn't good.
Just didn't. Well, I have been busy. I finally finished watching all my Hitchcock movies. I did all of his sound movies, so that was quite a feat. And now I am digging deep into my films nominated for Best Picture and nominated for Best Foreign Language Film / Best International Film. So that's a lengthy task that's going to take me a very long time.
You guys watch movies that are good for you.
Andy, if I had a hat, I'd take it off to you, sir.
No, it's fun. And I just as maybe a slight hint, there might be a series related to that coming up later.
Hooray!
This year.
Oh, I hope so.
We shall see what that might be. I feel like we actually hinted to it at some point in our Discord group, over at the Next Real Discord group. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much farther than that. We should be announcing what we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to say what our next round of lineups will take us through the end of the year. It should be fun.
I'm on pins and needles.
I will say, as just another hint, the other series, I feel like I think that it's a series that Pete and I decided that we thought would be really fun and funny to do. It's a longer series, and I don't think either of us has fully thought it through, and we may end up regretting it. Shortly after starting it. But I don't know. I hope that it will end up being fun. We'll see.
Ray's on pins and needles.
You've got this. It hurts.
Well, I guess we should talk about some movie news. What's going on out there in the world of movies?
Either of you guys familiar with Twilight Time?
Twilight Time. That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
That sounds like a trick of words.
It sounds like something where it's going to force us watching more of the Twilight movies. Yeah. It's Twilight Time, kids.
So Twilight Time is one of those DVD / Blu-ray distribution companies, kind of like the Criterion Collection or Kino Lorber, that puts out vintage films. They've been around since 2011. They actually put out some news recently that's kind of sad, in which they said they will be closing down operations as of June 30th. So that's sad. They've had a pretty decent catalog. In the past 9 years, they've released 380 movies. And so right now they have a big sale going on. They are going to continue making and selling movies until June the 30th. And then, if I understand correctly, after that, screenarchives.com has acquired their catalog, and I guess their movies will be available to watch there. I actually am embarrassed because as much as I love buying Blu-rays, I don't have any Twilight Time movies, which saddens me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked at that.
What are they known for? And I still don't believe that this exists. But go ahead. Like, there are so many words, and they picked Twilight Time. They could have picked Magic Hour, like something. Twilight Time? I don't like it.
Well, it's one of these boutique dealers. They got into the business releasing things that the studios just weren't doing. They weren't putting out there. They've taken care of a lot of Woody Allen films for people who are big fans of him. A lot of kind of obscure films that came out that weren't really hits.
I see. Oh, that's like, nice. Almost like completionist work.
Yeah, some of it is. Some of it is bigger stuff that just, it's not, unfortunately, getting talked about anymore, like Ingrid Bergman's Anastasia or Anne of a Thousand Days, which was, that was nominated for Best Picture back in 1969. Just no one's really talking about it. But then they're also releasing things from like the 80s and 90s, like Baby Boon with Diane Keaton, if either of you remember
that movie.
Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag with Joe Pesci.
Oh, that was also there.
Yeah, that was there. It sure was. So, it's not necessarily always some of the greater films, but they put out like, there are some ones that they put out like Rollerball, which is just a kind of a fantastic.
They put out Rollerball.
Yeah, fantastic.
Not the remake.
Not the remake. No, it was the original James Caan one.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Right.
It's from
I went
70s,
to the premiere of Rollerball.
Oh,
because
wow.
I was working at MGM with John Woo at that time.
Yes.
So we got invited to the film premiere at Rollerball, and we all went, "Yep."
You're like, well, glad we're here for this one.
That is absolutely a film, is what we all said.
That's what it was.
One thing about Twilight Time that I've never been able to cope with is that whenever they put out a movie, they only put it out for a limited amount of time.
It's not a limited amount of time. It's a limited number of copies.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And that always boils down to, the deals that they're able to cut with the companies that have the ownership. And it's, having negotiated these sorts of things in the past, it is very tricky and very expensive. And so I get it. And it's a hard thing to do, but that's what you got to do with these things is say, okay, we'll give you the rights to it for this much money, but you're restricted to this many copies and stuff like that. And if you increase it or decrease it, that changes the price. And it can be a very tricky thing to negotiate. But that's generally why all of their releases are so limited.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right. Take that and the fact that physical media just seems to be going down the drain right now compared to digital. It's no wonder that they're pretty much giving it up.
Well, I don't think they're so much giving it up as the fact that one of the two guys who founded it died. And he had passed away. And with that, the other person was just like, I just don't think I have it in me to keep going with this. And so...
okay.
But it is great to know that Screen Archives Entertainment is going to kind of pick up the mantle and keep going with it. Because what was great about Twilight Time is that they did release some of these more obscure films. And I love streaming services. I really do. But it is frustrating when there are some films that you really want to watch that just aren't out there. And so you do have to rely a lot on these boutique companies to kind of carry the weight for these kind of, quote, missing films so that you can still find a way to see them. I'm still hard-pressed to completely get rid of my Blu-ray collection.
Get rid of it? Oh, you mean don't want to get rid of it?
I don't want to get rid of it yet.
Hard-pressed means don't want to.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I have that's just not available elsewhere. So
okay, this question is pretty much out there begging to be asked. How many laser discs do you still have?
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
I actually kept a few when I got rid of my whole collection because I just don't have any way to plug my player in anymore. But I think I only kept, Glengarry Glen Ross because Jack Lemmon's commentary was great, which now is going to be released on Blu-ray finally.
Oh, neat.
And what was the other one? I think it was The Fisher King that Criterion had put out, but then they subsequently really re-released that on Blu-ray. So, so slowly everything's kind of been put out, but yeah, I don't have any way to watch them. I don't know why I bother holding on to them.
Because they're amazing.
Yeah, but silly things though. Ugh. You know, they'd go through like disc rot where the glue holding the two halves together would kind of loosen and they'd kind of pull apart and not play anymore. And it was just, they're so expensive. What a nonsensical thing to collect.
How much would be on one side? Wasn't it like half an hour?
It depends on the type of, because you could have, and I can't remember what they're called now, but it would either be a half hour and then you could like, if you hit pause, it would freeze the image and you could like step through it image by image. Frame by frame, or it'd be an hour per side. And then if you hit pause, it would just be like a blue screen. But then if you got a fancier player, it could still show the image. So,
America.
Yeah. But still having to flip your movie. And then eventually, you know, if it was longer than 2 hours, take it out and put the next disc in. Why did I ever start? God, what a strange, I mean, they looked great at the time. They were far better than VHS tapes.
Of course.
So,
Yeah. And we didn't know any better.
That's right.
We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Exactly.
So it was just like you were a space person.
Hey, what do you guys think about the next step for these big blockbuster movies? Now we have Tom Hanks's Greyhound moving over to Apple TV.
I read about that. What is Greyhound?
Greyhound is his World War II movie. It's the story about a battleship that I think gets surrounded basically by German submarines, and it turns into like this big battle trying to survive and not sink. Because I can't remember.
That's really interesting that Tom Hanks would be in a World War II movie. I didn't know he was interested in that. He sleeps with World War II under his pillow. He and Spielberg together.
I think so. I think they share World War II back and forth.
That sounds great, though. Hanks and submarine movies, which is such a not a soft spot, but like a soft spot for me. I love. It can be a really bad submarine movie, and it's pretty good.
Well, I'm curious. I'd love to hear what you think of this one. Like when you finally watch the trailer for it, because I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay.
Oh, how come?
Well, I don't know. It just looked a little kind of a predictable sort of story. It didn't look like overly like, wow, this is going to be amazing. I don't think that means it's necessarily going to be a bad thing. I think it will be fine watching it on the small screen, but there is something about watching a film like this on the big screen. Still, I mean, for the first actual non-animated film to be released streaming, to kind of make that shift, it makes me think that, you know, one, Apple is really trying to push their Apple TV platform to be the next Netflix and Amazon, and actually be a home to release these sorts of things. And two, I think it's just another shift in the whole pandemic where people are saying, you know what, maybe we should release some other movies in the digital realm.
Trolls.
Have either of you used Apple TV to any extent?
I watched the Oh, no, that's Disney. Nope. I went through the entire thought process and figured it out myself. No, I have not.
You got it, Tommy.
Yeah. I started watching the series. What was it? Blind? Is that what the one with Aquaman? I can't remember what it's called.
With Jason
Momoa.
Manzoa,
where everybody's blind like 500 years in the future. I started watching that. I got a few episodes in and I'm like, you know, I feel like I know where this is going and I don't know if I want to keep up with it. Considering how much money they spent on it, I was kind of surprised that it didn't wow me as much. My wife watched the one with Jennifer Aniston and really liked that one. Yes, really liked that one. She said it was amazing.
I'm interested in that one, and I'm interested in M. Night Shyamalan's series.
I am too.
About the babysitter. I guess I'm still just waiting. I just got a free month for Hulu, so I could watch Devs. Now that it's over, because I love the director of Annihilation and Ex Machina. Machino. Which I'm 3 episodes in, and I love it. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
What's Apple's library like?
That's a great question. I honestly have not. I kind of petered out after that show, and I tried getting my kids to watch some stuff on it, and I don't think they ever really got into it. I know that they had some documentaries that they were pushing out there, and gosh, I don't know. What else do they have?
Well, at any rate, I'm sure this will be something good for them anyway. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Tom Hanks has to be like the most popular actor ever.
Just full stop?
Come on.
It sounded like that was a signifier to something else.
Well,
the most popular man in the universe,
isn't he? No, actually, I think it's kind of interesting. The more I thought about it, I didn't put it together right away, but the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense that this movie that he wrote is going straight to streaming, with him and Rita Wilson having had coronavirus, I can
that is interesting. Yeah.
I can totally see him wanting to, having the perspective that, a lot of people are dealing with this. Why don't we make this movie available to them sooner rather than later?
That's actually a great point. I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the reason. I guess we'll have to see. It's coming out. When is it being released again? I can't remember what the date is.
I don't think there was a release date just yet.
I thought it was,
at least in the article I was reading, they had, I think they initially had a May release date for a theatrical release.
No, it was Father's Day weekend. It was June originally.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, you're right. But I think now that they have officially declared it a streaming movie, they haven't really given it a release date just yet.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
I can't remember. I don't find any dates, so you may be right. So,
and we'll never tell you if you're right. We love you too much, Ray.
Thanks, man.
I know. I could see in your eyes you needed that.
Oh, so what do you guys think about Zack Snyder and the Justice League's Snyder Cut? I know it had been this rumor forever.
I know.
A joke
Generally,
rumor,
when
really.
I see a Zack Snyder film, I'm like, yeah, but can it be longer? I've never said that in the history of Zack Snyder, so this is not for
Watchmen
me.
just kept getting longer and longer and longer.
So this is the one that Joss Whedon took over because of the unfortunate family incident?
Yes.
But then he afterwards made his own cut?
No.
Or during the process?
That's the thing. There never really was a Zack Snyder cut. And that's what? And that was the internet. It was like a big joke because everybody on
the devil, you say?
Everybody on the internet was pushing him for it, saying there's some secret cut that he had been working on, and it will really fix the movie, and that's what we're all waiting for. And I feel like he even came out and said, no, there were versions, but nothing was like effects weren't finished. There were things that had never been shot, and they pretty much said it wasn't a cut. It was just plans that never actually came to fruition.
Okay.
Now they're actually doing it. They're actually spending $20 million more to go
in money,
in real money. They are going to do more post-production. They're rescoring it. They're finishing visual effects. The actors have said they are coming back to actually do some reshoots and stuff.
Without the mustache.
Wait. Where is it? Is it showing up somewhere virtually?
HBO. It will be on HBO. They're doing six.
Okay.
They're doing 6 TV style chapters.
Oh, so HBO
is that what they settled on?
Well, 4 to 6, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I guess it's not completely settled, but yeah.
I never saw that one. Is it good? I mean, good, I know, is a relative term, but like the DC universe was a disaster across the board. Was this one of those disasters, or was this one of those that once Joss Whedon got his hands on it, he was like, yeah, I can actually make one thing relatable and not be like, Martha! Did either of you guys see it?
Yes.
I didn't know.
I'm sorry, when I say a disaster, except for Wonder Woman, of course,
and Shazam.
Oh, I never saw Shazam. I've heard that that's very charming. Okay.
I keep forgetting that that's part of the same universe.
It is, and
it's so different.
I wish so many more of the movies felt like that one. It was just such a fun film to watch. So
that was fun.
Yeah. Was it kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC universe? Like, this one's fun and enjoyable.
Maybe more of a Spider-Man-y sort of thing, because he's a young kid who becomes this big superhero, and so it just feels like it's like Big. Is really kind of the way to kind of contextualize it.
How did I never put that together before? It's big.
It totally is big, yeah.
You just blew my mind.
So Justice League was okay. It I don't think it was the worst thing, but you also don't need to run out and watch it.
I'm not going to because it's not an option and I'll die.
I do want to say, and this is something that everybody should be paying attention to, just because of all the COVID stuff, Cannes Film Festival and Sundance, not to mention some other ones, they've all started this thing where they're going to be doing streaming basically these film festivals online on YouTube for free. And I think it's starting like right after this, the week after this show airs, like Thursday, I want to say, what are the dates? May 29th to June 7th. Are the dates. It's called the We Are One, a global film festival. And I don't think films have been announced yet, but it is going to be a great opportunity to catch lots of films that we otherwise wouldn't get to catch at. Here's the list of festivals that are going to be participating. Berlin International Film Festival, BFI London Film Festival, Cannes Film Festival, New York Film Festival, Sundance Film Festival, Sydney Film Festival, Tokyo International Film Festival, Toronto International Film Festival, Tribeca Film Festival, and the Venice Film Festival, plus more.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, so check out you can go to YouTube and just search We Are One, a global film festival, or I think you just go to their website and, we'll put it in the show notes. So you can just link to that. But geez, check it out for feature films, shorts, documentaries. They're going to have music, comedy, panel discussions, tons of stuff. And people can still make donations to the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund.
That is super cool.
I love it.
I hope I have some free time in that period of time because I would love to see some movies from these festivals.
Wasn't South by Southwest going to do that? Did they do that and I just completely missed it?
No, and I was surprised that their name doesn't show up on this list unless they are part of the and more, but why would you not say South by Southwest?
No, yeah.
Yeah, they are kind of big.
Oh, wait, Prime Video, South by Southwest 2020 Film Festival Collection from April 27th to May 6th.
Oh no. So they did it?
What?
Oh.
Oh, so Amazon didn't make it like their own little thing. It looks like explore the list. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's timely.
So you have to go to Amazon to check those ones out, huh?
Well, it's over.
Yeah.
We missed it. Well, great. I'm really glad that I brought that up.
Well, here's hoping you won't miss this one, Tommy.
Yes, that's great. Good advance notice. I'm going to start now. Movie trailers.
All right, Ray, you get to go first. You are the first one to post it, so take it away.
Have you guys ever played Call of Duty and then as you're playing, you're like, what this really needs is to be more like The Ring.
I don't recall that coming through my head.
I'm intrigued.
So I found this trailer and it doesn't look like it's a masterpiece or anything, but it looks interesting enough. It's called Black Ops, or it's also called Stairs. These are both U.S. titles. I don't know why
one of those is good and one of those is just a thing.
Yeah, I don't know why there's two titles in the U.S. Okay, but in the U.K. and Australia, it's called The Ascent.
Drop some lead to these slimy bastards.
We all know what we agreed to, what we risk when we take a job.
Who is she?
Prisoner, shackled in the back of the tent.
Clark, what was our mission?
Kill anyone in the camp.
Shoot her.
I got a bad feeling about this.
This is about a special ops squad called Hell's Bastards, and they're sent to infiltrate some civil war somewhere and to retrieve some intel. And all of a sudden, they find themselves trapped on a never-ending stairwell, forced to climb or die. And to survive, they must revisit their past sins if they ever want to get off this stairwell. I know
Wow.
that sounds incredibly lame.
You know what
and it might just be.
There was Tommy, you're going to be able to help me with this one. I'm going to forget what it is.
Let's do this.
It was a found footage film where some people go into a kind of
I found it interesting
really
the amount
creepy
of
building.
first-person shooter
and
shots
they
that were in the trailer.
One by one they die, and at the end or toward the end, like they end up finding this hallway underneath, and they're stuck and they can't get out of this hallway. It's just like this endless hallway, and then of course somebody finds.
Oh no, I got nothing.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, anyway, it's a found footage film, but it has that same sort of thing where they're stuck in a place and they can't get out of it. Of course, that's a hallway. This is a staircase. Interesting.
You almost couldn't tell if it was a movie or a video game. And then all of a sudden there's like this demonic ghost woman popping up.
Well, when they're in the camp, they're sent on whatever their mission to kill everybody in this camp. And you see that girl that they drag out of the tent, you see her and you go, oh, well, if they do anything to her, that's a problem because she looks like a vampire.
It is funny that you mentioned that because Tom Peyton, I'm just weirdly pronouncing his name because I don't know how to do it.
Might just be Peyton. Go ahead.
There you go. Directed Redwood and Black Site. I don't know if you guys ever heard of those movies, but they're very similar. Black Site is actually about a group of soldiers as well. And about these soldiers that come across some vampires, I guess. I didn't actually watch the movie.
Clearly he's a person who likes colors in his title.
Yeah.
That's funny. It looks like an interesting, like a bad horror movie that I'd probably watch late at night and go, yeah, I can enjoy this late at night, but I don't think it's something I would seek out otherwise.
Right. Nothing terribly special.
I'm more excited by what you said, the synopsis, than the trailer, because the trailer makes it look like they're just being hunted by a zombie.
Right.
Which I have no interest in. But if it becomes an ascent from the depths of their souls and the staircase represents them trying to climb up towards forgiveness, that's interesting. But then there was that one, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, it could just be like a haunted house. And then she like runs up and eats one of them. And I was like, well, all right.
Well, it does have a 6.4 on IMDb, which kind of surprised me.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
But anyway, so it's 100 minutes long, and if you're interested, it will be available digitally on June 12th.
Fantastic.
Good to know. All right.
All right, for my trailer, I, considering we just did a series on Spike Lee, and Spike Lee's new trailer came out, I was like, well, I have to pick that one. The trailer is Da 5 Bloods, which is, it looks like a cross between, what was the Richard Linklater movie that he just did with the vets, Last Flag Flying.
Oh, Downsizing. Oh,
wrong director.
That's not Richard Linklater.
It's like where the vets come together to, I can't remember, they're transporting somebody. But anyway, it's old vets getting together, and it mixed with, and I'm going to blank on the name of it, but the George Clooney movie, Three Kings. It looks like a weird blend of like those sorts of movies where you have these, it's a story that takes place in two time periods. You've got the Vietnam War, and Chadwick Boseman is one of these guys fighting. And while he's there, he and some people come across a bunch of gold, and they hide it and they bury it. And they're like, well, we'll come back. And then we see the rest of it, which is them much older, later in life. Delroy Lindo is one of them, and they are now going back to try finding it. And in both times, they're running into people, and you've got people like Jean Reno, Paul Walter Hauser, Clark Peters is in there, and it looks like it could be an interesting blend of kind of stories. And so I'm really curious what Spike Lee's going to be doing with this one.
Black GI, is it fair to serve more than the white Americans that sent you here? Nothing is more confused than to be ordered into a war to die without the faintest idea of what's going on. I dedicate this next record to the soul brothers of the 1st Infantry Divisions. Be safe.
I love the idea of a Vietnam movie helmed by Spike Lee, even if it's not entirely set in the era. find it to be fascinating, and I can't wait to watch it.
It looks really interesting. It looks like because they even reference Apocalypse Now in the trailer. Right. And it's like America going back into Vietnam. And it seems like they're being very met with the horrors that they saw there, the things that they did, the things that were done to them. It seems really fertile and really, really interesting. And I would be in it. And I've always wanted to see someone in the Vietnam jungle glide forward without seeming like they're walking. So finally I can have that itch scratched. But no, I thought it looked great. I thought it looked really interesting.
Here's a question for you guys. I noticed that during the trailer, they did a thing that a lot of movies are tending to do nowadays, where if there's something that was in a past time, they seem to change aspect ratios. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Is that something you guys like, or does that bother you?
It's still a fun magic trick to me.
And
like, I know exactly how it's done, but I love that idea of it's almost like, and now get ready for the real stuff. I love it.
And Spike Lee's always done that. Like, he loves playing around with formats. I mean, we talked about it when we talked about Bamboozled, how he went from kind of the really crappy video to the Super 16 and would play around with that. And I think it's exciting. And I love that filmmakers do that. I mean, it's part of your toolbox. Why not, you know?
At some point, it will become a stunt that is over.
Sure.
Or that will be hack, but that's not there yet for me at all.
Yeah.
Right. You know, this thing coming to Netflix makes me wonder if Criterion will get video distribution on this right off the bat. You know, seeing as how they recently got distribution rights for Marriage Story and The Irishman.
Well, they do have a deal with Netflix to do the releases, the Blu-ray releases of some of their films. Yeah, and that's why they have been releasing some of those more recent ones. And so I wouldn't be surprised. And considering Spike Lee, especially lately, seems to have had quite a good run with some of the Criterion releases he's had, I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be great. Well, this one's coming out same day as yours, Ray, June 12th, 2020 on Netflix, as you said. So, all right, Tommy.
Mine is potentially the least interesting of the three, but it's also very charming. These kind of movies, it's called The Short History of the Long Road. It's gotten into every film festival that seems to be ever imagined. And it's that long tradition of the road trip between two family members, and they're sort of escaping each other. This one really reminded me of Captain Fantastic. Just seeing the trailer, Captain Fantastic with Viggo Mortensen and all of the young children working in Hollywood today. The idea of we're free, everyone else is caught because we live in an RV and we're just traveling around doing stuff. There's nothing dynamic about the trailer, but it's all very comfortably indie in a very sweet way of like cutting the frame. And this is what it looks like from inside the tunnel. So you're a silhouette when you're on the outside of the tunnel. And I don't know, there's just something very sweet. I like the actor that's playing the dad because I know him from, I think, Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's right.
He plays the crazy person. I don't remember his name. I've done no research. Stephen Ogg. He's like a legitimately good actor. Hi, what? My dog wants to get on the podcast. Not now. This is not your time. He has a lot of thoughts about indie films. And so it just looked like a very nice. I don't want to watch these movies a ton, but when I do, I end up really loving them. Like just sort of a character study. And Danny Trejo shows up and isn't immediately embarrassing, which is cool. And clearly she's going to find a new look on life and probably leave her father behind at the end. You can sort of see the entire thing coming, and that's not a knock on the film. That's just about, it's like a coming of age story, an alternative coming of age story that takes place during a road trip. I love it.
That's interesting that's how you read the trailer, because for me, there were so many times where we see her in the car without her dad that I'm like, okay, so I felt like for a while she's traveling with her dad, and then I feel like something must happen to him, and now she's traveling on her own, like when she's working for Danny Trejo at his little car dealership. So I'm like, I wonder what the story is. Like, does her father die? Do they have a rift? And
well, that sort of gets into what I was saying. I know it's going to end up being a separation between the two. An amicable, Dad, your life is no longer, you gave me such a great experience that so many kids do not have, but now I need this while you continue on for that. But also, there's a good chance I watched a different trailer. That's just straight up on brand.
What's your name, hon? Nola. What's your next stop? Kind of just let the road tell me where to go.
Society will be much better off once we build an army of self-sufficient agitators.
Not everyone wants to live like us.
Of course they do.
And it also had a feel like, what was the one that they covered on the Trailer Rewind? That it takes place in Oregon, and it's the dad and his daughter living out in the woods, and then
I saw that with Ben Foster.
Ben Foster, yeah,
yeah. I think it's. I'm gonna take a swing and say leave no trace.
Leave no trace. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good one. That's a much more severe look at this kind of life. But no, it seems really. I really love those kind of things.
Yeah, I do too.
This seems less physically survivalist and more emotionally survivalist. If that makes sense.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, there are a million road trip movies out there, but the way that they seem to be telling this story seems kind of new and original. And of the 3 trailers that we've talked about, I think this one is the most interesting to me anyway.
I did it! Wowee, I'm the best. So we've all decided that I'm
for the
win. Baby Triceratops for the win. Exactly.
When does it come out, Tommy?
Daytime.
Can I tell you? It comes out the same day as our movies.
I know. That's why I brought it up. It comes out the very same day, and I knew that, and I said that. But you're responding to a fact that I.
That was great.
So
good. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate that.
Hey, it's not like I came totally unprepared. Okay.
All right. Well, we are going to try playing a little game here for this next little segment where we are going to. We all found some movie reviews on either Amazon or Letterboxd, and we're going to read them out and see if the others can guess what the movie is. So I guess we should just go in the same order. Ray, why don't you kick us off?
Have we done this
We
before?
have not done this before.
Or is this a first-timer? So this could go down in bad history.
It could be. And we may never do this again.
This could be a disaster.
We may.
Ray starts crying. My pants fall down.
I thought your pants were already down.
They probably are. You lose another kidney. All right, let's go.
All right, Ray.
All right. This is from Patrick Willems of Letterboxd.
Oh, I know Patrick.
Who reviewed a movie, and he had this to say. I like how the main character goes to rehab and then the movie just ends. And text tells us he never did drugs again. End review.
Ooh, read it one more time.
I like how the main character goes to rehab and then the movie just ends. The text tells us he never did drugs again.
What year was it?
2004.
Oh. That's when I was alive.
Text tells us he never did drugs again. 2004.
This is tickling. This sounds familiar. How do we work? Do we go back and forth guessing?
I'll give you a hint.
Oh, good.
It's about a musician.
Oh, walking the line. Line walking.
No, not quite.
Ray.
What?
So it's not Walk the Line or Ray?
It is Ray.
It is Ray? I did it.
It is Ray.
That's really what they say at the end. He never did drugs again.
Right.
That
so
sucks.
if you watch the movie, and I read this review and I thought it was hilarious because it does show him go to rehab. And then, after he's having trouble in rehab because, he's been on heroin so long, it gets to some text on a black screen that's basically says what happens. And then it says, and he never did drugs again.
That's hilarious.
We asked him. And he pinky swear. That's great.
So yes, good job, Tommy.
Hooray, I did it.
All right. I'm going to give it a go here. You guys ready?
Yes.
Both Dungeons and Dragons and raising people from the dead are qualities of Satanism. I am disgusted that this company would promote Satanism to kids, and I will not let my kids watch any of their products in the future.
What were the two signifiers? Dungeons and Dragons, and what was the other one?
Raising people from the dead.
And apparently it's a kid's movie.
It is a kid's movie. The release year was 2020.
Oh.
Onward?
Onward, yes.
Oh, I don't know what Onward is. What is Onward?
It was the newest Pixar movie with the
okay.
fairyland and the kids who are trying to. They find out that their dad was a wizard,
and they just bring back his pants.
They bring back his pants, his bottom half, right? Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So.
That's a good one. Oh, what were the stars? How many stars?
Half a star.
Half a
Yeah,
star.
that was from Christian Mom 87.
That checks out. All right, mine is a deeper cut, but I hope that we've all seen this movie.
Ooh.
And that's all I can say. This is a 2-star review by M, and it means MEM, because that's a clue. And it says, "Don't believe the hype." All right. I do not understand. So there's some tough clues in here, but they do exist. I do not understand why some people rave about this movie. I guessed what was happening in the first 10 minutes. Who creates a life where you work at the post office? Dude, at least make yourself rich and living with your wife. People are haunted by this? Having nightmares? Why? Seriously? The scene where they take him through the hospital basement was disturbing, but everything else was as nightmarish as cherry Coke. The ending was as cheesy as a Hallmark movie. There's another paragraph, but it gives everything away.
I want to say it is Jacob's Ladder.
You are 100% correct. Was that fun or was that not fun? Have you seen Jacob's Ladder, Ray?
I bought it, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, you need to watch that.
Weird. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And yeah, I just thought it was fun contextual clues of that in his. Oh, you haven't watched it yet, so we can't talk about it. The end. La, 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 la. Yeah. Okay,
there
good.
Were, there were a couple in there. The middle clue and the end clue are the ones that gave it away for me.
Right. Right. Ray, take off your headphones so you can't listen. We'll wave when you should come back. The part that I didn't say was, I applaud Jacob, though. For a ghost, he sure had a lot of social interaction. Okay, come back on. Okay, good. Spoiler alert for everyone that this movie came out 900 years ago.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that was fun.
That was a game.
That was a game.
I liked it.
We played it, and now we're going to move on.
Okay.
It is time for our lists. And for this week's list, the film that we're talking about was the remake of La Cage aux Folles. It was The Birdcage, Mike Nichols' film from 1996. And we had a few options over in our Discord group for people to pick from, and they all voted on awkward dinners. So we have lists of films with awkward dinners.
Smart. That's a smart topic.
Yeah, it should be fun. All right, Ray, take it away.
Okay, well, my first pick for awkward dinners is there's a little bit of hometown pride behind this one.
You can't submit one of your family dinners.
No.
Okay, good. It has to be a movie.
It was Thanksgiving, Tommy, 1985. Man.
Tommy, I guarantee you've seen this one, Tommy. And if you haven't, my heart will break.
Oh, no.
It's been covered on the next reel, so I'm doing a Steve Sarmento here. And I'm going with 1978's Dawn of the Dead.
What? Wait, the dinner scene?
So the dinner scene that I'm referring to is, if you remember, I want to say about 2/3 of the way through the film, there are 3 of the main characters left, and they're eating dinner.
All in the mall?
Right. They're in their upper...
In their little hideaway.
Portion of the mall there. Yeah. And there's been no contact with the outside world. They have the TV on, but it's all fuzzy. And they're trying to see if anything's going on. And Fran finally just gets so fed up that she goes over and turns off the TV. And then Steven gets up and he turns the TV back on. And it's basically, they've just turned into the same zombies that they've been fighting this whole time. And so it's just gotten to be incredibly awkward between all of them. Hence the awkward.
That is awkward.
Oh,
that is
good
awkward.
Pick. That's very good. Good pick. All right. Andy.
All right. My list ended up being ridiculously long.
Me too.
I know, isn't it fun? I'm going to start with a film that I watched again recently, and I just really love it. I think it was a really clever really clever horror movie that I wasn't expecting to be as enjoyable as it was. And at the very beginning of the film, we have this takes place during the Civil War, a soldier who is just so disgusted by all of the awfulness going on, and yet the kind of the accolades that he receives. He goes to this big dinner, and everybody is just eating like just disgusting red meat, and the way that it's shot, it's just like, it just makes you sick, and he gets sick and he has to run out and throw up because it's so nauseating. It is Antonia Bird's Ravenous, and
with Guy Pearce.
With Guy Pearce.
I've never seen it.
Really? I'm surprised by that.
Sad,
you should check that one out.
I have, because people eat people, right?
They do.
I have a lot of trouble, because even though I'm a horror movie fan, I have a lot of trouble with people eating gross things on film. It makes me it hits my gag reflex a little bit. Usually not zombies though. So maybe, I know they're not zombies, but maybe I should give it a try.
You should give it a try, because it's more just about the kind of the mentality and less about, like, there's not a ton of them like just ripping into flesh like the zombie movies or anything like that.
That scene would probably have the kind of overtones that one Lord of the Rings sequence that I love so much, where they're running into battle while the king is eating tomatoes and tearing things apart.
Disgusting. It feels very much like that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Tommy.
Look at me referencing Lord of the Rings. Weird. Where's who ate Tommy? Okay. Is the point of this again? I like all of mine. Am I supposed to be ranking them in a certain way? Does it matter?
You know, Pete sometimes likes to go, third place, second place, and then first place. I sometimes am in more of a panic mode because I don't want things to be stolen, so I say them right away.
The steals. That's right. Okay. Well, I'll do. Let's see. I'll do this one then. This is a pretty calm one. I have a deep love of dysfunctional family dinner scenes in movies. It's one of I can't take my eyes off it. I don't know if that says anything about me and my family, but I love it so much. The film for me is just okay. But this scene, when Sarah Jessica Parker ends up as a new fiance, I believe, ends up alienating herself from her entire fiance's family from just a couple different things, to the fact that Craig T. Nelson goes, "Enough!" and screams, and she starts crying. It's called The Family Stone. And it is a mortifyingly well done scene of just someone having a complete break with all of her new family while bringing up something that some people would think is an acceptable thing to say. So I'm going to go ahead and say The Family Stone. I was just as vague as possible. The end.
That is one of our favorites, and definitely a holiday regular on this end.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, my wife watches it all the time. Yeah, loves it.
Yeah.
All right, Ray. Number 2.
That's it.
All right, for my second pick, I'm going to channel my inner Marine. Hoo-ah! If that didn't give it away, then I don't know what will. My second pick is Scent of a Woman. And the scene in question is whenever Al Pacino's character goes to his brother's house for Thanksgiving dinner. Only his brother's family wants pretty much nothing to do with him. And Chris O'Donnell is... Ah, man.
Doesn't matter.
Remember the actor's name.
I don't mean to derail you. I'm just trying to remember the scene.
Chris O'Donnell is there as kind of Al Pacino's caretaker because he's blind.
Right.
And during this dinner, Al Pacino's one nephew just goes off on this angry tangent about how Al Pacino isn't a war hero, but he was just being an idiot, basically juggling grenades, showing off, and that's why he's blind, and just basically trying to tear Al Pacino down in Chris O'Donnell's eyes. And it's just a very terribly awkward experience.
Wow. Is that the scene where he does, I know there's one scene where he does the quiet, as if like, ouch. Is that scene, or is it the courtrooms? It is that. Nice.
Oh, good call.
All right, good pick.
I totally
Very good
do not remember that scene at all from that movie.
I do not remember that movie.
Very, very tense scene. And you know what? It's crazy because when you watch it, it almost feels like you're there. That's how awkward it is. It's... Whew. Ooh.
I love it.
All right, for my next pick, this is a little bit more of a comedic take on awkward family dinners, and it's because the two people hosting the dinner with the woman make it horribly just uncomfortable because they are completely lying to her, pretending who they are, and it is, of course, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And you have Steve Martin and Michael Caine wooing this woman only to steal all of her money. And Michael Caine, of course, is the lover. And Steve Martin is playing his really awkward, as he calls it, Rupert the monkey boy, peeing his pants at the table and poking himself with his fork in his eye and all sorts of craziness. So it's such a fun movie. That's my second pick, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
That's a great pick.
Nice.
For mine, jumping off now of Andy's pick of Ravenous, this is a scene involving three people, and one of the people at the dinner table is actually the meal. This is 19 boob-a-boobs. I didn't look any of these times up. Hannibal. The sequel to Silence the Lambs, where Ray Liotta, the incredibly misogynistic FBI jerk, is served his own head as he loses slowly the ability to speak, as he is slowly served his brain while calling Jodie Foster. Oh, no, it was, what's her name?
Julianne Moore.
Oh,
Julianne Moore, the cornpone P word over and over as he loses the ability to have any of his functions as slice by slice of his own brain is served up and tableside by Hannibal Lecter. That's awkward and uncomfortable.
That is the one scene I remember from that movie. I always remember him carving the brain off of Ray Liotta.
Yeah, and then he feeds it to a kid in an airplane later. Spoiler alert. The worst. All right.
All right, Ray. Final pick.
Okay. My final pick is definitely my favorite awkward dinner scene in any movie.
Oh.
It involves one of my favorite actors, which is kind of controversial to say nowadays.
Oh, Bill Cosby?
No.
It's the other Bill Cosby, the whiter one.
O.J. Simpson. I like picking not good actors.
Kevin Spacey.
Oh, yeah. Well,
in American Beauty.
Yep.
Awkward
So
dinner scene.
there's the scene where after Kevin Spacey basically
when he
blackmails his boss, and he comes home and Annette Bening, his wife, is going crazy on him, oh, thank you for making me the sole breadwinner in this house,
Right.
Durka. And he's like, I don't want to listen to this Lawrence Welk music anymore. And then he throws the plate of asparagus at the wall. And
That's right. Oh, I love all your picks so much because the first thing I keep doing is going, there was a dinner scene. And then they're all so good. That's great. That's a fantastic pick.
Smashing the asparagus into the wall. That's a good one.
that's the only thing asparagus is good for
Hey
anyway.
now.
Hey-oh.
Hooah.
And he owns stock in asparagus. That's used that one shot of that because it's taken when he throws the thing, it's taken wide where you can see the entire table and all three people at the table is used expertly in that trailer, which when that trailer came out was my favorite trailer of that year because it's set to Teenage Wonderland.
Gosh, I don't remember that at all. I should watch that again.
It's really great. It's really, really great. Great pick, Ray.
Solid one.
Thank you.
All right, for my final pick, I am jumping to a film that it's a very quiet film. I think a lot of people are irritated by its quietness, but I found it to be really kind of mesmerizing. James Ivory tends to make films like that. This is another Ivory Merchant story. And it is the 1993 film, The Remains of the Day. What I found just something that I have never forgotten about this film is when Anthony Hopkins, he's like the head butler at the house of Darlington Hall, and his dad comes and starts working for him, who he had been a former butler. And there is a scene, and this is this big dinner where Lord Darlington is having kind of a big discussion with lots of different people about kind of the world and the state of everything with Germany. And the dad who's buttling, I guess I'll say, he's serving drinks and he has a cold, and there is a close up of his nose dripping. And it drips into one of the drinks, and Lord Darlington notices it, and of course, so does Anthony Hopkins' character. And he kind of gives his dad a handkerchief and kind of gets him out of there and everything. But it's just like if I were Lord Darlington, it just plays for just like grossness, but it works well in context of the whole film and the way it all plays together. So. That was my final pick, The Remains of the Day, and the awkward snot drop.
Nice. Who knew Anthony Hopkins was involved in so many awkward dinners?
That's true. All right, Tommy.
I can go gross or I can go smart. Which would be like? I'll leave it to you guys.
Go smart. You just went gross with Hannibal.
Smart. All right, that's true, because this would have been treading the line. The gross one would have been Alien, the chest burster scene from Alien.
That's a little
when they
awkward.
all get together and they're all eating, and then he's like, "What do you got? Indigestion?" And then the thing bursts out. So, anyways, my smarty one will be based on the, let's say, what's the Pulitzer Prize for theater? Tony Award winning, one of my favorite plays I've ever seen. It is an all-star cast, and it has an incredible, everything comes to a head when this incredibly dysfunctional family, when all of these daughters have to go back into this incredibly dysfunctional home in order to deal with their domineering mother, who, in helping her deal with the seeming suicide of their father, the patriarch of the movie. Everything comes to a head, and it finally has Julia Roberts sprawling over Meryl Streep, yelling the words, "I'm in charge now!" Any guesses?
Yes, it's the one that they were. I know what it is. I'm blanking. It's something. It's the name of a place, right?
Correct. August, Osage County. I love this movie. The movie got a lot of flack, mostly because they give it a little bit of a happy ending when the ending of the play is incredibly dark. This one it's called the Julia smile back when she gets out of her car and she's like, "I am gonna do okay," and drives off into the sunset. Or the play ended with Meryl Streep's character, the mother, yelling after the maid that does no longer work for the family, crawling up to the attic of her house, yelling for someone that no longer exists now that her family has left her behind. That being said, that dinner sequence is rough. Everything falls apart. Everything is opened. And I love it so, so much. I sometimes just queue up that scene in that movie because I'm a weirdo. And that's all I can say about that. So, August, Osage County.
That's one that's been on my list of films to watch, but I haven't checked it out yet.
The cast is remarkable.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, even before they were remarkable, like Benedict Cumberface is in it in kind of a small role, but he's great. You just didn't really know who he was yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice. Good list, guys. Do you guys have any backups that you want to throw out there real quick?
Only 10.
Oh, I have like 11. No, just kidding.
The Old Dark House. Have a potato.
Okay.
But you are
this one.
Blanche, you are. That was one of mine.
Which one was it?
But you are Blanche, you are. What's that? Whatever happened to Baby Jane when she serves her the rat?
That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awkward. I'm sorry. What are we doing? Awkward or uncomfortable? Uncomfortable. Sorry.
Awkward.
How about Godfather Part 2? Whenever they have the flashback scene where Michael reveals he's going to join the army.
Okay. I've got some Lars and the Real Girl. Nothing like finding out your brother is dating an inflatable doll.
That also happens in August Osage County.
Don't judge me.
That also happened in Remains of the Day.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
okay.
There's a trend. Back to the Future, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Whoa.
Texas Chainsaw
and
Massacre. How did I not think
Beetlejuice.
of that?
Damn, that's amazing.
Lots of fun stuff.
Oh, fantastic. Good lists. All right.
So we have to come up with some options for next week. Next week, we're going to be covering The Dinner Game, or Le Dîner de Con, on our series. Have you guys seen that one? It was remade as Dinner for Schmucks, in case you watched that instead.
Oh, I did see that, so now I feel embarrassed. Yeah. Okay.
The dinner game, it's very much the same sort of thing. A rich publisher meets a stupid but very kind person. He plans to invite him to this dinner game where everybody makes fun of them. But as it happens, they never quite make it to the dinner. They just end up, kind of everything goes crazy and they fall apart with insanity and craziness at his house.
All right.
So what could we throw out there? We have, there's a tax auditor.
Lovable accountants.
Can we just do accountants?
It's fine.
Yeah, it is a little tough. We just did uncomfortable dinners, and now this movie is about an uncomfortable dinner.
I know, right? Well, what's funny about it is you never actually get to the dinner.
Oh, okay.
You do in the remake, but not in this one. So is there something where, people never get to the thing they're trying to get to? I don't know. That's might be horribly
What about
awkward and vague.
Winning back a lover? Because the main character's trying to get his wife back, isn't he?
He is. So yeah, winning back a significant other.
What about something about games? They're playing a game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So either games that go wrong or games for adults or
I like games for adults.
Games for adults?
Yeah.
Okay. That seems like there would be a lot of those.
Building models.
He builds
models out of matchsticks or
right?
something.
Well, I mean, do we have three? We have accountants, winning back a significant other, games for adults. Do we need more, or are you guys good with those?
No, that works.
Tommy, what do you think?
Who's going to vote for accountant?
Hey,
should we? No, I'm not saying. Well, I guess I am saying. I mean, yeah.
My father was a CPA. No,
and I loved all the movies based on his profession.
So we do. Okay, what can we do with it then? Because he's specifically is a tax auditor, and it's all written for comedy. So could we do tax comedy? Maybe.
Yeah, something about the IRS or fear of the IRS, anything like that. Sure.
Let's just make it taxes in case it's a different overseas sort of movie.
That works.
Tax comedies, winning back a significant other, and games for adults. There we go.
We did it.
Sounds like a winning
pretty
combination.
Good list.
I think so.
Well, if you want to vote on those, you can head over to Discord, the Next Reel's Discord group, which you can find at thenextreel.com. And you can join our Discord group, and you can get in there and you can cast your vote if you are a Patreon supporter. And to find out more about that, you can also go to thenextreel.com/Patreon, where you can learn about what we do and how you can support us and help us out. And then you can vote over in our Show Talk channel. So that next week, the Saturday Matinee, we can talk about one of these three lists.
Yeah, give us your money.
That's right.
Are we not supposed to say that? Is that not the end of that segment?
I think that works. I think that works.
Speaking of money, I bet if you had some more money burning a hole in your pocket, you could go to thenextreel.com/merch.
Oh.
And there's all kinds of cool stuff there for you to buy. Like if you wanted to get mobbed by a bunch of people who thought you were responsible for the coronavirus, you could get a face mask that says, "I am patient zero." Or maybe it's people that think that you just recommend good movies. I don't know.
That's right. And all of that stuff, you can find over at thenextreel.com. And I guess that's it, guys. So thanks for joining me here. And
this has been a wonderful Saturday.
Wonderful Saturday morning.
Yes.
And we appreciate all of you out there. Have a great rest of your day.
See ya.
We did it.